From Genesis chapter 50. Joseph's brothers also came and fell down before him and said, "Behold, we are your servants." But Joseph said to them, "Do not fear, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive, as they are today. So do not fear, I will provide for you and for your little ones." And thus Joseph comforted them and spoke kindly to them. There are lots of moments in our lives that don't seem to make sense. And even worse, there are times when we look at a situation and think, well, what's the point of that? Or, that was such a waste. The author of Ecclesiastes picks up on this theme when he writes of mankind's earthly work, saying that much of it seems to be meaningless or like vanity. But know this, in God's economy, nothing is wasted for those who belong to the Lord. In His grace, God has a redemptive purpose for even the hard things in our lives. This is part of the lesson of the story of Joseph. And it's the middle verse of the passage that I just read that stands out. What Joseph's brothers meant for evil or for harm, God meant for good. Now, caution here, of course, is warranted. God didn't cause Joseph's brothers to act maliciously towards him, but he certainly was aware of it and even allowed it. And in his wisdom and foresight, God used it for his good and perfect will. To be clear, the same word, the word that we translate as meant, is used twice in that verse. It implies decisiveness, intentionality. The brothers had a purpose or an intention in their evil. God likewise had a purpose in his goodness. And because of the beauty of the Bible and the benefit of hindsight, we know what that purpose was. In the near term, it was so that Joseph's entire family and ultimately countless numbers of other people would be saved from starvation. In the longer term, it was so that the descendants of Abraham would flourish and they would grow from a small family into a great nation. Now, there's more that could be said at this point, but I simply want to underscore the truth that for those who love God, there is no situation, circumstance, triumph, or trial that is meaningless. God is always at work. He's always doing something. Again, in God's economy, nothing is wasted for those who belong to the Lord. And what a blessing this is. What a testament to God that his redemptive purpose overshadows both the joy and the pain of life, and that there is a multifaceted good to the ups and downs that we experience. Again, for Joseph, the good was personal blessing and life for his family. But for others in the Bible, the purpose was increased faith and boldness, and even the advancement of God's kingdom. For all, the result is sanctification, and what Paul would later call the eternal weight of glory. The rather sobering alternative to all of this is blind luck or fate. Both of those ideas ultimately lead to despair. In the verses that I read earlier, Joseph had the benefit of realizing the purpose of his ordeal. But that wasn't always the case. There were most certainly dark days of confusion. And there will be the same for us. In time, however, all will be revealed. Until then, we're called to seek God, to rely on his mercy, to walk by faith, knowing that he is always at work in our lives. May we all be encouraged by God's sovereignty and his grace.